Good evening. This is Brian Shannon from Alpha Trends Blogspot. It's Monday, September 18th, 2006. I've got the NASDAQ 100 Trust up on the screen here, the QQQQ, and as I had mentioned in my previous video, I think that the market is, and I've kind of been feeling this way for the last week or so. The market has reached a critical juncture based on this level, the two-thirds retracement level of this year's highs to this year's lows. Also, we've got the 200-day moving average, the declining 200-day moving average in this area, as well as a prior important level of resistance back in late 2004, which then became support earlier this year before this breakdown. So we're now at this critical juncture, and on the daily time frame, we're a little bit extended, so I don't think it makes sense to take big bets in market type stocks. I think that we remain in a stock pickers environment, and that on Wednesday we've got the Federal Reserve going to announce any changes or lack thereof to monetary policy. So again, I'm going to say, it probably pays to take it slow in here, focus on some of the stocks rather than looking at the overall market. So let's go ahead and take a look at some plays potentially that could move for tomorrow. CCBL, this is C-Core Cable, and this is a thinly traded stock. If you look at the average daily volume, in fact, some of the stocks I'm going to mention are thinly traded. This only trades about 300,000 shares a day, but it's got a great pattern here. If you were looking, first of all, at the daily time frame, you can see that it's just recently broken past this level of resistance in here, and that resistance looks like it's potentially been tested as support here. We've got the 10-day moving average above the 20, which is above the 50. They're all advancing. So when we back it up to a weekly time frame, it looks like the stock could be heading up towards this area up in here. So on a shorter term time frame, again, it looks like the buyers are back in control. It's been finding support here along this rising 5-day moving average. And again, it's thinly traded, so be careful if you do decide to trade it. I'm not going to suggest any particular areas for stops, but you might want to take a look at recent higher highs and higher lows, and say if it breaks to a lower low, then that might be the area where you want to get out of a stock like CCBL. LIFC, this is Life Cell Sciences, and I'm starting with a 10-minute time frame just to show you that it looks like it's gotten a little extended here today. It had this initial shakeout, which was nice to see, and then a strong rally, a pullback, and another strong rally late into the day. I don't think you want to chase the stock here. I would say you probably want to wait for a little bit of a pullback before you got involved in the stock. And again, the way I like to look at pullbacks is I want to see the stock establish some support after a pullback and then buy it on strength. Basically, if the stock were to get back below this rising 5-day moving average, though, I think I would lose interest in it. On the daily time frame, again, I'm not going to mention any targets, but I think it has the potential to retest the highs that have been made this year. So again, I'm not going to mention any specific stock prices, but you can go ahead and take a look at them and see if it makes sense based on the way you look at stocks as well. A thinly traded stock that just broke out massively on earnings is this company right here, which is RFIL. It's RF Industries, and I did read the news. They had big earnings. I don't know what they were, but the stock responded very positively here on huge volume, much bigger volume than normal. And you can see the average daily volume back here was only 5,000 shares over the last 20 days. Now it's 156,000. I expect that number to keep rising. But relative to the breakout, the pullback has been on lighter volume. And looking at this weekly time frame, you can see the significance of this breakout. It's been trading, below this 6.5 level for nearly, not quite, but 2 years, but maybe about a year and a half. And that was this prior support level back in late 2004 as well. I think typically these stocks, they break out and then they have at least one more run, and that's where you might want to look to get involved in this stock on a little bit of strength. It looks a little early right now, but I would keep this one on your radar over the next few days to look for more potential upside in there. Another stock that looks very similar, in fact, to this stock is a company called ANGN, symbol ANGN. And ANGN also reported big earnings, and the stock broke out. And it looks to me, at least as far as my data goes back, that this is an all-time high for the stock. So that's a that's a big positive. Now the stock ran up initially on real big volume, consolidated a little bit on lighter volume, and then scared some people out in here today. Now we've got the stock right now looking like we've got a rising 10-day moving average rather at $10.58 right now. If we take a look also at the short-term time frame, first of all, the stock on a 10-minute time frame that we're looking at right now is clearly in a downtrend. So I wouldn't be a buyer here. I would be expecting a test, though, of maybe a 61.8% retracement, which is near $6.46. And if you remember, the 10-day moving average is about 6.5 or 6.58. So maybe around 6.5, this stock is going to pull back to, find a little bit of support. And once it does find that support, I would be looking to be a buyer on strength. I wouldn't be looking to buy on any weakness in here, because maybe this move just completely fails. The volume pattern tells me that most likely it doesn't fail. However, we always have to be open-minded to anything occurring. Now, the average volume here over the last 20 days is 466,000 shares, so a little bit more volume than at RFIL. And again, it's in a short-term downtrend, so maybe I'm a day or two early mentioning this stock, but again, these are just potential ideas. It's going to be up to you to decide whether you want to trade them, when to trade them, what price, where your stop goes, and that sort of thing. I'll just bring you the ideas from now on. On the short side, it looks like a company called Adams Respiratory Therapeutics is breaking down nicely in here. We'd seen first this gap on big volume. We had seen another gap just last Thursday on big volume. And relative to that gap volume, the stock has rallied up a little bit here on very light, actually, and diminishing volume in here, and that tells me the buyers aren't rushing in to cover their short. The shorts aren't coming in to cover their positions. Buyers aren't rushing in to establish a long position either. And when we look at a weekly time frame, it looks like the stock may be due for a major breakdown here. So I'm looking at this ARXT as a potential short candidate, not just for tomorrow, but the next couple days. We've got a 10-minute time frame here. You can see it's found a little bit of resistance near this declining 5-day moving average. I think if we were to take out today's highs, that that would probably be a reasonable stop for most people to consider, and I would be looking for a little bit of weakness probably before I sold this stock short. Here's a 2-minute time frame, and when you look at this 2-minute time frame, just looking in here, it looks like it made this higher. Let me just back that up. It looks like it made this higher high and another higher high, and we have these higher lows. So I would probably wait for a lower low, and that might occur right around here. Again, I'm not going to mention any specific prices, but I might wait for weakness to settle into the stock before I were to take any bearish bet on it. Next, I would suggest taking a look at Foster Wheeler as a potential short sale candidate. Symbol FWLT. Looking at this weekly time frame, you can see the stock had been doing nothing, had a massive rally last year, and it spent a good part of this year undergoing distribution. Now that support was recently retested, and it looks like it's acting as resistance. The only thing I would say about this time frame is, just to keep your eyes open. We have the potential that this is a right shoulder, although maybe people were looking at that right shoulder there as a breakout, and this is the failed move from there. Either way, just want to keep an eye on any potential scenario that does unfold. And we also have a it wouldn't be a divergence, but we do have a higher MACD. It didn't make a lower low here, but we do have a higher MACD, so that gives me a little bit of concern about this stock. But I think that looking in here, we've got these lower highs, and I would say, we've got a higher low. Again, this is a type of stock I would suggest probably selling short on a little bit of weakness and a stop. I would say personally above today's highs or you know, near that declining 5-day moving average. Because if it were to get back up above there and make a higher high, I think you could see a pretty good short squeeze because the stock looks like a pretty obvious short. So when they look that obvious, a lot of times you want to be extra careful and make sure you're not stuck short if it gets going, because there could be a good squeeze back up to, you know, who knows, 45 or so. But that's going to do it for today. Let me know what you think about this idea of not mentioning specific prices. Again, it's not something that I really wanted to do, but actually it might be a good idea, and it'll keep these videos a little bit shorter and we can look at more ideas. Let me know what you think. My name again is Brian Shannon. If you're seeing this video anywhere else other than on my blog, do be sure to go ahead and take a look at the blog, Alpha Trends Blogspot. Thanks for your time.